Hello everyone, I'm Sandra Seapack. Welcome to Candid Conversations. Today we're going to be talking about women in the workplace, and we'll discuss how you can get the job you want, re-entering the job market if you've been out of work for a while, and changing careers. We're going to get advice from our guests on hiring practices, interviewing techniques, transitioning to a new field, and what you can expect after you're hired. Our guests today are Karen Fink, Senior VP of Human Resources at Edmunds.com, and also Shirley Pay, CEO and General Manager of Metro Cab. Right now, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts, Dina Diamond and Becky Lantry. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
We're going to be talking about working women today and achieving your career goals. So we are going to talk with Dina first, and she's going to tell us a little bit about your first job and what you were doing in your career.
Well, I'm really excited that we're talking about careers because you never know when you have to change careers. Well, I never expected to lose my sight and have to literally redirect my career. I didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go. So I went to state rehab where I was given a very highly scientific Harvard aptitude test. And that's supposed to tell me exactly what would be the perfect job for me as my new role as a blind woman. So after 2 days and hundreds of questions, I get the results back. And this highly regarded Harvard test told me I should be a priest. Really? Do you really think the Vatican is going to start blowing the white smoke to welcome me into the flock? I don't think they're ready for women yet, especially this woman. So I thought, okay, what's the second choice? They said police officer. Do you really want to see this blind chick packing a gun? No, I don't think so. I didn't know what to do. I obviously didn't follow those paths, but should either of you women want to come and confess, I'm available anytime. But if you say anything I don't like, remember, I could be packing.
That's okay, that's all right.
Just saying. So
Well,
not good luck with that.
No, I don't think I'll come and confess, Dina.
Okay.
No way.
No, we're not doing that here.
So let me tell you about my job. Actually, the job that I currently have, I've had for 15 years. So I guess you could call that a career. 2 years ago, my job actually was cut down. I went from being a full-time person to a part-time person. But the funny part of it is that when they got ready to do that, they kept saying, okay, we're going to fire you, but what happened was we thought about the clients. They would wonder where you went. And I told them, I said, oh, don't worry. I called my big sister, and I asked her to pray with me for a part-time job with benefits. And my boss actually told me that I was going to be part-time with benefits. I said, so see, God answered the question really fast.
That's a really positive thing,
It's
though.
very positive.
I mean, you took, something that maybe you thought was going to be, maybe a little bit negative, and it turned into be a positive.
No, actually, it's exactly what I asked for. I asked for a part-time job with benefits.
Right.
I've got benefits, and a lot of people these days that have part-time jobs don't have benefits.
That's true. That's true.
But you did yourself a favor by making yourself invaluable, that even though they did have to cut back, they needed to bring you back in.
Yes.
That you were that important. The clients basically demanded you, and they realized that. And that's an important thing to talk about.
Well, we're going to talk about that more today on our show. Yeah. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come right back with our first guest, Human Resources Director Karen Fink. So stay with us.
Hey! I don't know you.
Some problems are just too big to ignore. But don't take matters into your own hands. With the help of a mediator, you can find a solution. Mediators are volunteer professionals who can help you resolve issues without the high cost of legal fees.
Wonder if he's single.
Hey, I saw him first.
Call us or reach out on the web if you'd like to volunteer or donate.
Experience Highways Performance Space and Gallery.
I knew my journey would lead me to a place
where I'd find a highway that I could travel to the beat of my own drum. Ride out the storm, 95 Joey died, but deadly was born.
And there would be no limits to the vibrancy of my performance.
Join us each week at Highways Performance Space and Gallery and live without limits. Log on to highwaysperformance.org. I thought I was all thumbs. Turns out they're green.
It feels good to focus on others.
My tax preparation skills are appreciated, and I don't have to wear a tie.
Nothing beats a great hand except lending one. Be a wise volunteer. Support seniors in maintaining balanced lives. Visit wiseandhealthyaging.org or call 310-394-9871.
Joining us today is Karen Fink, Senior VP of Human Resources at Edmunds.com, the premier resource firm for automotive information headquartered here in Santa Monica. Hi, Karen. It's great to have you with us on Candid Conversations today.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Well, the job market is so competitive today, so the best candidate really has to stand out. And I'm sure that you get a lot of job candidates that you have to talk to on a regular basis. So from you being a head of human resources, what do you look for in a really good potential job candidate?
Sure. We do get a lot of candidates for our jobs, particularly today with the internet. It's easy to apply for a job. It's hard to stand out. A couple recommendations. One is to really understand the job that you're applying for and make sure that the skills that you have are highlighted and suited for that particular role. A second thing is, remember, when you're sending your application online, it goes into a sea of lots of other folks. So if there are ways to find out who you know at that company and figure out a way to have somebody else navigate and bring that forward. Now, what if you don't know anybody there? Get on LinkedIn, put a profile together. LinkedIn is like the Facebook for the job seeker, and it's pretty likely that you will know somebody that knows somebody at the place that you want to work, and that really does help in terms of getting a resume noticed. When you get to the interview, if you've gotten to that stage, a good thing to do is to really be able to articulate why you want to work for this company and why you want this particular job and what skills you bring to that. A lot of people will say, I will do anything. I'm excited. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And while that's very good from an attitude perspective, we want somebody who really can differentiate themselves because they are passionate about working for that company or doing that job.
Okay. So when you first get the resume, what is going to make it stand out besides having that personal touch of somebody bringing it to you that works for the company? What specifically are you looking for that's going to put that at the top of your list?
Great question. I will say that we tend to know what we are looking for from a skills and experience perspective. So again, the more you can highlight where your skills and experience match what's needed for that role, that does help to bring it to the top.
So do you get many applicants that are overqualified?
Sometimes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, you manage quite a few people. You manage almost 550 people in the hiring practice that you do. If a woman is coming back into the workforce, let's say she's been out raising children for a couple of years and now wants to come back and apply for a position, what can women expect nowadays returning to the job market?
Sure. Well, things change a little and move quickly, whether it's 3 months out, 3 years out. The things to think about when you are returning, you may be returning into the field that you were at before, you may be returning into a different field, there may be different skills that you're looking for, or that the companies are looking for. Things to do in terms of preparation are, again, understand what's really needed for the job, be able to articulate why you are interested and why you're passionate. You may need to do a little retraining. You may need to take a course that keeps up with the technology that has changed. The things that I think about when coming back into the workforce is to get to a place where your confidence is built, that you know what you want to do, you've done a little internal assessment and a calibration of what you're interested in, why you're interested in it, why you want to be at this company, and come in from a place of confidence. Women have done a lot when leaving the workforce, raising children. They may be on volunteer committees, on schools, organizing budgets. All of those things are transferable skills, and so having confidence that it may be more complex to run a home, to get kids shuttled to carpooling, than it may be doing a budget for a company at work. So have confidence in what one's done.
That's good.
So how is the turnover?
How is the turnover in general these days?
Yes, in general.
We are seeing pretty similar turnover as we've seen in the last 4 years or so. In '08 and '09, when the economy was down, we certainly had less turnover. It has been picking up again as the economy has lifted, and people may be leaving to find other jobs that they were interested in for a while that have opened up.
What's the female ratio?
In our workforce, we have half of our company is technology and half is sales primarily. We have a lot of other functions. In the technology world, we are about 30% female. In the rest of our company, we're about 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good to know.
When a woman's coming in for an interview, I've always been told, don't dress for the job you're applying for. Dress for the job you want 5 years from then. Is that true?
I would say it probably does hold true in some ways. You always want to dress a little bit nicer than you would in an everyday world, but also think about the culture that you're interviewing for and in. At Edmunds, in a technology culture, we are a very casual work environment. People who come in a full suit definitely stand out. It's okay, but also understand the environment that you are interviewing in. If you're interviewing in a bank or a financial service institution, you really want to make sure you dress towards that culture.
So let's say you're coming back now into the job market, or you don't have maybe a lot of experience. Tell us some of the ways we can gain the experience to get the job we want to go after.
Sure. Some of these are a little unconventional or non-traditional, but just to give some ideas out there. First of all, don't be afraid to be a temporary employee. There are lots of temporary agencies out there that have needs for temporary assignments. Some of them are high level, high caliber, but it's a great way to get the foot in the door in the type of company that you want to do. Another thing may be to think about interning. I know that's an odd thing to think about maybe after working and being out of the workforce. But let's say you're interested in digital media, and when you left the workforce, there wasn't digital media. You can take an internship with a company to learn about that and take that in a transferable way. Take courses, as I talked about before. Network. Talk to your friends. Find out what's going on in the world of work, and have them help introduce you to some of the new skills.
I think networking is a great way to come together and find out about openings at different companies, and somebody can even refer you, as you were talking about, because it's really hard to get in the door. I mean, you're the VP of Human Resources. How do we get to you? I mean, that's going to be the big question. Just to get your resume in there is the hardest thing. So what do you do? What do you have to do?
I definitely recommend networking, and sometimes that's a scary word. What does it mean? What does networking really mean? Network means getting out and talk to people. Call your friends, send them an email. Hey, I'm thinking about a job in such and such. Can you tell me about what you do? I'm interested in a job in TV. What's it like to work on? And just having a conversation, and so it lowers the barrier of, you're not saying, hey, can you find me a job? You're saying, hey, I'd like to know more about what you do. And then you're learning yourself with it. But get out from behind the computer, or get out from the household, and go out and just start to meet people and talk. And that's a great way to network.
Now, you said that if somebody comes in there with a suit, but people are actually, when they're coming for an interview, they're coming in a suit.
Yes, which is fine. Which, again, you always want to dress up a little bit when you're going to whatever that interview is. But understand the culture is just also important.
HR it's changing. I can remember going to a job interview, and I remember a lady not hiring me because she didn't like my earrings. I actually took the time to go back and find out, because I knew that all my skills were, they were there.
But that's a great thing.
They were definitely there, and I kept saying, well, I don't understand. So I went back and I asked her. She told me she didn't like my earrings.
Wow, well.
That's a great point. If you don't get a job, can somebody come back to you and ask you why?
Sure. If you really are interested in what we're ask for some feedback. And sometimes that's a difficult thing for the interviewer to respond to, but it's certainly your right as a candidate, as a job seeker, and it helps. When you talk about getting feedback, some good things to do are maybe do a practice interview with some friends and have them give you feedback too. How did it come off when you answered this question? what does your friend think about your earrings? You know, those kind of things. It's great just to practice and get feedback from trusted people before you get into that actual interview situation.
How do you feel about, I know that a lot of people when they go on interviews, after they've been there, they send the cards. How do you feel about that?
Sure, I have mixed feelings. I feel like one shouldn't feel they have to do that. When I do receive them, they are nice. It's again, one of the things I look for is that passion and that interest in what we're doing, and that's just another way to show and reiterate why one is interested in the role. And so whether it's a handwritten card, whether it's a quick email after the interview is over, it is nice to get that acknowledgement that yes, indeed, I am interested in working at where you
Karen,
are.
you have been extremely helpful to us and to our viewers, giving us some great tips, and we want to thank you for being on our show today.
Thank you so much
I really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Thank you.
Great advice. Thank you.
We're going to take a short break, and hopefully with these little tips that we've given you and some career advice, hopefully you can get the job you really want to. We're going to take this little break right now and be back with Shirley Pay right after this.
Who do you think you are?
I'm Mommy. You eat this. I'm Mommy. We have so much to do today, Joanne.
Don't you think you should pay more attention to the road?
No, because I'm Mommy.
What could possibly be so important that it's worth your life? The Santa Monica Fire Department wants you to keep the road safer. Don't text and drive. Put it down.
Oh, hi, Rosa.
Is it time for Mama to have our baby?
No, sweetie, it's time for you to get a checkup.
A checkup? Can I go, please?
The services of women in Children's Hospital are integrated into the new LAC USC Healthcare Network, where superior medical professionals provide clinical research and complete patient care for your community.
Ouch.
Our staff is dedicated to you and your family.
Welcome back. More women today are not only a big part of the business world, they are also key decision makers in management positions, overseeing employees as well as the growth of their own companies. For many, building a successful career began with entry-level positions, long hours, and a passion for their chosen field. Believing in yourself and what you bring to the company is equally important. Shirley Pay is the general manager of Metro Cab in Santa Monica, which has provided reliable and courteous service for more than 15 years. Shirley, thank you for joining us today on Candid Conversations.
Thank you. Welcome.
We're going to start off by mentioning something that you had talked to us in the green room about, and that is that you are very passionate about what you do. And you feel very strongly about other people being passionate about their chosen career field.
Absolutely.
And I just want to expand on that a little bit. In being that, how does that matter to you and what you do today?
It helps a lot. It's one of the driving force in any individual that does actually become in a position of management. You have to love what you do, and you really have to feel it. And when you really have that passion, it doesn't feel like work at all. You have to find at this certain, it could be in any field, but you have to find that certain part of that job that would make you passionate about it. Being in the taxi cab industry when I first started, I didn't even think. I go, okay, taxi cab. But I found my passion with the individual owners that needed us, and needed us to make a difference for them and do a job for them to enable them to make a living on a daily basis. So.
Do you find that being a woman, you look at people differently? Your interaction with the employees is different than with a man?
I certainly do.
In what ways?
It does make a lot of difference. You know, you could play it both ways. We have the advantage of being more subtle in our management style, or we could also be very stern, like mothers. You know, us being mothers and teachers, we're very stern. This is what I want. This is what's going to happen. But we keep it. We do it with a smile, and we could do it either way.
As a general manager, how's discipline work with your employees? Is it harder to discipline a woman or a man?
It's pretty much the same. It really is. And when you're disciplining it, it's individualized. You look at the person, and how you discuss matters with them would be very individualized. You really can't focus and say, okay, this is my management style, this is how I'm going to discipline everybody. Everybody has a different style or a different way of being able to take what you're trying to tell them to make a change or make a difference. So it really varies. Men can equally be as emotional as women, if yet more. So,
wow.
But now your company is made up of quite a few women.
Absolutely.
I mean, and in that itself, that's very good to hear. I mean, you were mentioning to us that there's quite a few women that you oversee, and with that, you know, you've certainly had a hand in the hiring practice. So if you look at somebody and you identify somebody and choose the right person for the job, how do you go about, like, providing them the tools that they need to be successful in what they do, and how do you look at a good candidate for a job in your company?
Like any hiring company or any person that's in a hiring position, you look at the person, you interview them, you try to feel. But most of all, I feel, is as a general manager, become empathetic. Try to feel more. Ask some questions that you feel would matter and can relate. How would they handle things in a different situation, especially if it's say, for example, it's in accounting. You want to gear towards, okay, how would that matter? How would that relate to your personal life? How does that relate to you as an individual? How would you manage it if this was your personal business? So that those part really help, you know, and quite valuable for.
Okay.
So, you know, when, say for instance, I came and I wanted to be a taxi cab driver, what would be the qualifications you were looking for within me?
First of all, you have to have a clean.
You better be a good driver.
You have to have a great clean record. Drug and alcohol, we do all that testing.
Well,
but the personality is how do you relate to customers? How are you with people? It's a very people-oriented or driven.
No pun intended.
Industry and career or business. So we would look at you on how you deal with customers, how you would handle it, and, you know, and kind of feel like how would you do certain things, and we would ask questions as far as how would you handle a situation if you have a passenger that is very upset. How would you deal with that? So,
as a woman who's worked her way up the ranks, what would be advice that you'd give to other women who would like to reach that same level?
Listen, and learn. It's very important to listen. Most of us, and I've been there during our younger years, it's more about ego, how to get there. I need to go, but forget to listen. And we, especially us women, have a tendency to talk. And listening is very key, especially if you are managing people. You need to understand and listen to what they're trying to tell you, because there are a lot of things that they're telling you that might not be put into words. So you want to really.
How many people do you manage?
We have 30 staff, and we have over 300 independent contractors.
Wow. When you are disciplining somebody, since you have people who work outside of the office, how do you follow how they're doing?
We can you rephrase that? Repeat the question.
Their performance. How can when they're out in the field, aside from getting calls of people saying this is the best driver, this is the worst driver, how are you going to sit there and evaluate them on a daily basis?
We actually, what happens is when there are disciplinary actions that we need to do, we call them in the office, we interview them and talk to them. And what happens after that is we put them back into the classroom training. And from there on, we do have cameras, so we do monitor them and
you took the question right out of my mouth. I was going to say, so are there cameras on board?
There are cameras. There are cameras, and we do look at the cameras. And you know, Santa Monica is very strict, so we have to adhere to a lot of.
Well, because now you are a general manager, you've come up the ranks, so to speak, and you've got a lot of experience, and you began early on in an entry-level job with another cab company, so you've worked yourself up. For someone out there who is entering the workforce now, is it possible to achieve that in 10 or 15 years down the road?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, you're proof of it, but can they do it too?
Absolutely. If I could do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot, though. You know, it's something that is achievable, but you have to have the right tools, too.
Right.
And that makes a difference.
And what are those tools? What did you see in yourself that you knew you would be able to handle this high-power job?
I constantly kept in school. And again, what I would recommend and what I would tell everybody is you have to be passionate. You have to love what you do, regardless. It doesn't matter what industry. You have to find something about it that you love. And it doesn't become a job. It just becomes second nature. And before you know it, you're there and you're just, and one of the key element that I do tell staff is that take pride in what you do. It's very important. Take pride in what you do, especially if you have your signature on it. Take pride.
Have you gotten a lot of high school graduates that actually just want to drive cabs?
We are 23. They have to be 23 and older. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. There is an age limit.
But we do have dispatchers that are high school graduates, and they start from us, and they work their way up to the office
Well, that's
level.
good to know. And I think, you know, it also provides a great part-time position, too, for those people who are supplementing their income.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, many people may want to think about that particular job for a supplemental income as well, because today a lot of people work a lot of part-time jobs as well.
Do you have part-time jobs?
Yes, we do.
Right. With benefits?
No. They only created that for you.
You're special. You're special.
Okay. All right. Well, I think, you know, I think you brought up some great points here, and I think being passionate about what you do really is key. I think no matter what you do, bottom line, especially if you're going to climb the ranks in a company, you have to be very, very passionate about what you do. And I think you're proof of that now. And I think, gosh, you've made it all the way to the top, and now you manage all these people. If you were going to give advice to somebody really quick, what advice would that be coming in for the first time as an entry-level worker?
Learn and observe, and learn from your, you know, from the best people that are training you. Learn from them. Ask a lot of questions.
Listen.
And be passionate. Don't just show up for a paycheck.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, Shirley, thank you so much today for joining us on the show and sharing
thank you
some
very
of your
much.
tips.
Oh, thank you.
I'd also like to thank our guest, Human Resources Director Karen Fink, and of course Shirley Pay for being with us and providing all the great resources they have given us on interviewing tips, career building, and getting the job you want in today's job market. You want to stand out and make sure not only you get the interview, but also the position too. So remember, marketing yourself and making sure your resume is getting you in the door is vital, but being passionate about what you want to do in a career is equally important. On behalf of my co-host Becky Lantry and Dina Diamond, I'm Sandra Sepak, and I want to thank you all for being with us today. See you next time on Candid Conversations.